The teasers dropped.
Right.
The fandom just went completely silent. I mean, in an instant, the entire K-pop world was turned upside down.
It was crazy.
Welcome to StarScope K-Report. Join Eric and Minji as we ride the Hallyu wave, uncovering the biggest K-pop comebacks, shocking industry controversies, and major K-drama updates.
From internet-breaking rumors to historic chart milestones, we dive deep into the world of Korean entertainment.
And today's deep dive is, honestly, it's a massive one.
Yeah.
We are looking at a headline that just broke the internet. They tried to silence her, Min Hee-jin's final revenge against HYBE.
Yeah, this one is heavy.
It's so heavy. You have this massive, record-breaking girl group at the absolute peak of their global career. They're riding the Hallyu wave, selling out domes, getting all kills on the chart.
Oh, totally dominating the industry.
Right. And then, out of nowhere, the music just stops. A massive, indefinite hiatus.
And it's not just, rumors on Twitter or netizens speculating on forums like usual.
No.
We've actually been going through actual court filings for this deep dive.
Yeah.
Parliamentary hearing transcripts, leaked internal text messages, and what we found is this multi-million-dollar corporate war that reads like a high-stakes financial thriller.
I genuinely kept thinking I was reading a script for a really dramatic K-drama.
I know, right?
We're looking at ousted executives, multi-million-dollar lawsuits, and a superstar group caught right in the crossfire.
So we're going to untangle this multi-year, just multi-layered battle between the global powerhouse HYBE, former ADOR CEO Min Hee-jin, and the artists at the center of the storm, NewJeans.
Right. But before we get into it, if you love staying updated on your favorites, make sure you subscribe to StarScope K-Report. We've got even bigger scoops ahead, and you really don't want to miss them.
Definitely.
Yeah.
And it's a really dense and honestly highly sensitive timeline.
Yeah.
So I think it's crucial to state right up front, we are navigating a landscape filled with conflicting claims and intense legal disputes.
For sure.
So our role here isn't to take a side or point fingers. We're just connecting the dots behind the headlines. We need to explain the mechanics of how this cultural phenomenon fractured, step by step.
I'm trying to wrap my head around where this all even started. Because to understand why this group eventually splintered, we first have to establish who actually claims ownership of their creation.
Right.
And the origin story takes us all the way back to 2021.
Exactly. So if we look at the timeline and the documents provided by Source Music, which is a label operating under the massive HYBE umbrella.
It's a huge umbrella, yeah.
Yeah. The foundation for what would eventually become NewJeans started much earlier than the public realizes.
Oh, wow.
Between 2018 and 2021, Source Music was actively scouting and training a specific group of girls. Internally, they referred to them as N-Team.
N-Team, okay.
And their original corporate roadmap had this N-Team slated to officially debut in the third quarter of 2021.
Okay, so enter Min Hee-jin. She was brought into the project to handle the branding, right? Like the visual identity for this highly anticipated debut.
That was the plan, yeah.
But according to the internal documents and this really explosive leak by the media outlet Dispatch, that Q3 2021 debut just didn't happen.
No, it didn't.
The process was allegedly delayed for 8 months. And the reason for that delay, I had to reread this part 3 times to make sure I was seeing it right.
It's pretty unbelievable.
You won't believe it.
So the leaked text messages show that during this crucial 8-month period of delay, Min Hee-jin was allegedly consulting a shaman.
A shaman.
Yes, referred to in the reports as Shaman K.
Wow.
And the leaked messages show that she spent over 40 million Korean won on these consultations in just a couple of months.
Wait, let's freeze on that for a second. 40 million won, which is roughly what, like 28,000 US dollars?
Yeah, about $28,800.
On a shaman.
On a shaman.
It's like a Silicon Valley founder using a Ouija board to select their board of directors.
It really is.
If you're a multi-billion-dollar corporation like HYBE, how do you even respond to finding out your subsidiary CEO is allegedly making crucial HR and casting decisions based on exorcisms?
Right. And the messages suggest it went far beyond just casual advice.
Oh, really?
Oh, yeah. The shaman allegedly advised men to take the N-Team trainees away from Source Music to start her own independent label.
Which eventually became ADOR.
Exactly. And to do it using HYBE chairman Bang Si-yuk's money.
No way.
Yeah. The shaman was even allegedly weighing in on the final lineup of the group.
Wait, like picking the members?
Yes. For example, the reports indicate the shaman advised men to cut a specific trainee from the debut lineup.
Why?
Because her eyes looked like she had a, quote, second soul, or was possessed by a ghost.
Possessed by a ghost? You're kidding me.
And based on the messages, that trainee was indeed eliminated from the project.
That trainee was actually cut.
She was cut.
But why would someone at the absolute top of their game, right? A respected creative director, rely on a psychic for corporate strategy?
Well, I think it highlights something really profound about the psychology of the industry.
Oh, yeah.
If we connect this to the bigger picture, it exposes the extreme, almost suffocating pressure at the top tiers of Korean entertainment.
That makes sense.
You have millions of dollars, corporate reputation, stock prices, all riding on the highly unpredictable success of teenagers.
Right, because if the comeback flops, the stock tanks.
Exactly. In an environment where the stakes are just astronomical and the outcome is incredibly subjective, the anxiety and paranoia can push executives to seek certainty in very unconventional places.
That makes a strange sort of sense, honestly. Like when you're trying to engineer lightning in a bottle, the pressure to make the perfect choice must be unbearable.
Definitely.
But Min Hee-jin's private spiritual consultations weren't actually what got her sued.
No, they weren't.
Because Source Music realized they couldn't necessarily sue her for going to a shaman,
Right.
but they could sue her for what she was saying to the press.
Exactly. The leaked messages exposed her private maneuvering, but Source Music actually filed a 500 million Korean won damages lawsuit.
Which is about $360,000.
Right. Against Min Hee-jin, based strictly on her public claims.
Okay, so what was the core of this legal dispute?
It's twofold, really. Min Hee publicly claimed that she personally cast the members of NewJeans.
Okay.
And she claimed that HYBE broke a promise to debut NewJeans as their very first girl group.
Because they opted to debut Ellie with Seraphim first instead, right?
Yes, exactly.
Wait, I'm stuck on this 2020 video evidence that Source Music brought to the court.
Oh, the parent videos.
Yeah. If Source Music has the members' parents on tape signing contracts years before Min Hee-jin's label even existed, how does her legal team even attempt to argue that she cast them?
It seems legally impossible, right?
It really does.
Well, Source Music brought exactly that evidence. They presented videos to the court showing the parents signing practice contracts well before the ADOR label was fully established. The videos show Haerin's mother expressing surprise that the casting director came all the way to Anyang to find her.
Anyang's quite a trip.
It is. And they show Danielle's mother asking for options if her daughter didn't make the final debut cut.
Oh, wow.
So Source Music's argument is straightforward. Look at this video. Our executives found these girls. Our executives signed them.
And Source Music also used those leaked shaman texts against Min in court, right?
They did. They pointed to a specific message where Min allegedly told the shaman that, quote, the protagonist is the last one.
Oh, meaning she wanted them to go second.
Exactly. Source Music argued this proves Min actually wanted NewJeans to debut after Ellie Seraphim.
So HYBE didn't break a promise at all.
Right. They were just following her own strategic timeline.
So how does Min Hee-jin's defense team counter the video evidence of the parents signing the contracts?
Min's defense relies heavily on the semantics of the word casting.
Semantics, okay.
Her team argues that casting doesn't necessarily mean being the person who physically scouted them on the street.
Right.
Or the person who processed the initial trainee paperwork.
Gotcha.
Her defense defines casting as the act of selecting the final debut lineup from a massive pool of trainees and building their specific brand, aesthetic, and musical identity.
This raises a fascinating question about authorship in pop music.
It really does.
It's like an architect claiming they built a skyscraper versus the construction workers who poured the concrete.
That's a great way to look at it.
Who really creates a K-pop group? Is it the corporate entity that funds the scouting and signs the legal documents? Or is it the creative director who gives them the sound, the visuals, and the identity that the stans actually fall in love with?
It is the defining question of this entire conflict.
Yeah.
And it's a question the South Korean courts are now being forced to answer.
Wow.
But while these executives and lawyers argue over definitions and millions of dollars in a boardroom, we cannot forget the human element.
Absolutely. The teenage girls at the center of this corporate storm are paying a massive personal price. And wait till you hear what netizens uncovered next about what was happening behind closed doors.
It's heartbreaking, really.
For anyone listening who has ever felt trapped in a toxic corporate culture where different departments are at war with each other, imagine navigating that when you are 17 years old and the internal memos about you are leaking to the global press.
It's unimaginable pressure.
The members of NewJeans actually came forward to report severe workplace harassment.
Yes. The situation escalated to a very public breaking point. Hanni, one of the members, actually testified before the South Korean Parliament's Environment and Labor Committee in October 2024.
Oh, I remember seeing clips of that. The K-nets were going crazy.
They were. She testified about systematic isolation within the company. She cited a specific instance where a manager from another HYBE label allegedly instructed their group to blatantly ignore the NewJeans members in the hallway.
That is so petty, but the labor authorities ultimately dismissed the case. How does a government body hear that testimony from a massive star and just throw it out?
Well, it's because of a deeply entrenched legal loophole in the industry.
A loophole?
Under current South Korean labor laws, K-pop idols are classified as independent contractors or special artists.
Okay.
They are not legally defined as workers.
Wait, explain that mechanism. Because they work exclusively for this parent company, their schedules are entirely controlled by the company. They live in dorms provided by the company.
Right.
How are they independent contractors?
Because technically, they aren't paid a salary or an hourly wage like regular employees.
Oh, I see.
They are essentially viewed as individual business entities entering into a profit-sharing joint venture with the agency.
Wow.
It's a technicality, but it's a crucial one because it effectively strips them of standard labor protections. Workplace harassment laws, as written, simply do not apply to them.
That is staggering. They generate millions of dollars for the national economy, but they don't have the basic employee protections of an entry-level office worker.
Exactly.
And the alleged mistreatment wasn't just happening in the hallways.
No.
The sources show a leaked phone call from a HYBE PR representative who was speaking to a reporter. The PR rep was actively trying to downplay NewJeans' album sales in Japan,
Yeah, that was wild.
essentially bad-mouthing their own artists to the press.
It reveals a deeply toxic internal environment where the parent company and the subsidiary label were actively working against each other.
And the artists were just weaponized in that fight.
Exactly. And this profound feeling of being unprotected and undermined led to an unprecedented rebellion by the group.
Right. In September 2024, the 5 members held a rogue, unsanctioned YouTube live stream.
The whole internet stopped to watch that.
They looked directly into the camera and demanded that HYBE reinstate Min Hee-jin as the CEO of ADOR.
Such a bold move.
When that didn't happen, in November 2024, they held a press conference announcing their intent to terminate their exclusive contracts entirely. And then in February 2025, they boldly rebranded themselves as NJZ, telling their fans in a live broadcast to get ready for a, quote, wild ride.
That moment was a seismic shift.
Huge.
Historically, idols are expected to remain perfectly polished, compliant, and strictly neutral in corporate matters.
Yeah, they're not supposed to make waves.
Right. For a top-tier group to publicly defy their parent company, attempt to break their contracts, and rebrand themselves independently, it challenged the very power structure of the idol system.
Here's where the irony is just glaring to me. K-pop companies manufacture these fierce, rebellious girl boss concepts for music videos all the time.
Oh, absolutely.
It's a huge selling point to the fans, the visuals, the attitude.
Yep.
But the second these girls show actual real-life rebellion against the corporate machine that controls them, they are systematically crushed.
It is a profound irony. The industry profits off the aesthetic of empowerment, but the reality of the business model relies on strict, unwavering control.
Right.
And that control is maintained through the ironclad legal framework of their exclusive contracts.
Which are famously difficult to break.
Exactly.
Yeah.
If we look at the historical precedent of K-pop contract disputes, like the legendary group TVXQ splitting from SM Entertainment back in 2009 over their 13-year contract.
Oh, that was a huge deal.
Or more recently, the group Luna successfully suing to suspend their contracts. There's a long, painful history of artists fighting for basic autonomy.
Yeah.
But this specific rebellion hit a massive legal brick wall.
And later in the deep dive, we're going to talk about a plot twist involving a $29 million lawsuit that nobody saw coming.
It's honestly terrifying.
Hit that subscribe button so you never miss a KT update.
So back to the legal wall. In October 2025, a court ruled that NewJeans' exclusive contracts with ADOR and HYBE are in fact completely valid until the year 2029. Yeah, that ruling effectively ended their attempt to operate independently as NJZ.
So they were trapped.
Legally bound to the agency they had just publicly fought against. The group was forced into an incredibly difficult position.
I can't even imagine.
The unity they showed during their rogue live stream fractured under the legal reality.
Right.
Late in 2025, it was announced that Haerin, Hyein, and Hanni had agreed to return to ADOR.
What about Minji?
Minji's contract status remained unresolved and undetermined in the immediate aftermath.
But the situation with Danielle is what truly sent shockwaves through the industry. My bias is Danielle, and this part just hurt to read.
It was brutal.
In December 2025, ADOR abruptly terminated Danielle's contract, citing unspecified contract violations.
Yeah.
Netizens and industry insiders speculated this was tied to independent brand deals she may have pursued during their attempted breakaway.
That's the running theory.
But they didn't just fire her. The very next day, ADOR filed a lawsuit against Danielle, her mother, and Min Hee-jin for a staggering 43 billion Korean won.
To put that in perspective, that is approximately 29.8 million US dollars.
I can't even process that number. How is a lawsuit figure even legally calculated that high for a single artist?
Well, in the K-pop industry, contract breach penalties aren't just about returning the money spent on training, vocal lessons, and housing.
Okay.
They are typically calculated by projecting the expected revenue the artist would have generated over the remaining years of their contract.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, in this case, 4 more years until 2029. Plus, they add massive punitive multipliers.
That is insane.
It is an astronomical sum, clearly intended not just as a demand for damages, but as a punitive measure.
A warning.
Exactly. It is a highly publicized, financially ruinous warning to anyone else in the industry considering breaking their contract.
It's like signing a Silicon Valley non-compete clause, but one that also dictates what you wear, who you talk to, and comes with a $30 million penalty if you try to quit and start your own app.
That's a perfect analogy.
Seeing her hit with a penalty that large is just devastating.
It reinforces the absolute leverage the agencies hold over the talent.
Yeah.
And it brought the entire conflict to a devastating stalemate. By February 2026, Min Hee-jin held a press conference with a desperate proposal.
Okay, what was it?
She had recently won a legal battle regarding a lucrative put option against HYBE.
Hold on, for listeners who aren't finance majors, a put option essentially means she had a guaranteed right to sell her shares in the company back to HYBE at a highly favorable predetermined price.
Precisely. It was part of her executive compensation, and it represented a massive personal payout.
Okay.
She offered to completely forfeit that fortune, essentially walking away from her own millions.
Wow.
But only if HYBE agreed to drop all civil and criminal lawsuits against the girls and their families.
She's offering to walk away from a fortune just to get the girls out of this legal crossfire.
Yeah.
So when we zoom out and look at this entire timeline, from the shaman consultations to the semantics of casting to a $29.8 million lawsuit, what is the big takeaway here?
If we connect all these dots, we are looking at a modern corporate tragedy.
Truly.
You had a brilliant, highly specific creative vision from Min Hee-jin. You had a massively talented, charismatic group of young performers.
The best in the business.
And you had the immense financial backing and global infrastructure of a corporate powerhouse in HYBE.
Right.
Together, they built something that fundamentally shifted the culture of global pop music. But the clash of egos, the ambiguity of creative ownership, and a bitter power struggle ended up destroying the very thing they created together.
It's incredibly sad. You have a group that brought so much joy to their fandom, now splintered and facing years of legal debt.
It is, and it raises an important question about the future of this entertainment ecosystem.
Yeah.
The entire K-pop industry is built on perfectly manicured images. It relies on intense, loyal, parasocial relationships with fans who believe in the bond between the members and the wholesome, synchronized narrative presented on screen.
It leaves you wondering, if human idols are this difficult to control and the legal fallout of a human rebellion is this expensive, is this corporate war going to accelerate the industry's current push toward fully AI-generated virtual idol groups?
That's a scary thought.
Groups who never rebel, never sue, and never age.
That is the ultimate question we have to ask ourselves now. The magic relies on the illusion.
Right.
But with this ugly, cutthroat corporate reality exposed in court, the shamans, the sabotage, the multi-million-dollar lawsuits against teenagers,
yeah,
agencies might decide that human unpredictability is a liability they can no longer afford.
Wow.
Once the curtain is pulled back this far, the industry might just decide to replace the humans behind the curtain entirely.
You've been listening to StarScope K-Report, where Eric and Minji bring you the stories shaping K-pop, K-dramas, and the global HYBE wave. Thanks for tuning in, and don't forget to subscribe for more stories that keep the stars shining.